Hi guys, how's it going? This past weekend I played in our Mega Team Case tournament. It was, I don't remember how many rounds of Swiss it was, but we had the top 8. And I went undefeated in Swiss, and then I won top 8, and we split top 4. Now I decided to play a deck that I have never played before, which was the bird deck, Floowandereeze. I probably think it was a little interesting. Obviously it stereotypically is like kind of a control deck, and you know, it seems to be not that difficult, but there's actually like a lot of cool things that you can do with the cards, a lot more than I was like expecting. And it's actually like super skillful when you get to like looping your birds and looping your resources. Anyways, for the main deck, pretty standard stuff. 3 Ravina, 3 Eaglins, 3 and Toucan. Some of you play multiples of these guys, but I think 1 is fine. It combos pretty well with map, obviously, but you know, it's whatever. Ravina does a lot. Ravina's insane. Then for the big guys, 2 Mega Rise, or 1 Mega Rise, I'm sorry, 2 Empen and Apex. 3 Empen is like something I considered, but this isn't like a super turbo build, so you only play 2. Pretty standard list. I played 3 Shifter, obviously. It's the only hand trap I played. I think I probably main Ash going forward, but other than that, like, Shifter is obviously insane. One of the few decks that can still play it and do really well with it. Dodging stuff like Droll, which is like super good against you, super important. And for the pots, play a bunch. This deck bricks a lot. I only bricked really hard once throughout the tournament, which was lucky, obviously. But there are some games that are like unwinnable if you don't draw an intro. Like it's purely if it's up in Noir, like you don't really have a solid out to Noir, at least not very easily. So like those are just non-games anyways. So you bricking like factors into that, and hopefully if you time your bricking correctly, then you know, get that out of the way. But you want to maximize consistency as much as possible. Extra was actually really solid for me. Being able to get the extra 2 cards, like break boards or like have live cards going second, was huge. And then obviously these guys are standard. I wouldn't play 3 of this because I don't have room, and also like it kind of conflicts with Cross, obviously. 3 Thrust, probably one of the best cards in my deck. If you get drolled, you just set Featherstorm, and then they pass, and then you get to play again. So it's like droll never happened. Obviously, also going second, it's like evenly and stuff like that. Advent, shout out this card, man. I couldn't find this card for the longest time before the event, and I like scrambled to find them. I finally got them. This card's insane. Helps you play through and around everything. 3 map, terraforming, and then the unexplored winds. This card is like underrated, man. This card's broke. I actually have people play multiples of this. Going second, or just like even being able to like, if you use Featherstorm, Mega Rise and put it on the top of your deck and then draw it with this, ridiculous. I played Talents, Featherstorm, and the 1 Trap, and then 3 evenly. These guys are the thrust targets, obviously. Dreaming Town 1 was fine, and then evenly was kind of like the weakest card for me. Honestly, I think I would cut 2 and play 2 Book of Moon. The reason I play Book is like obviously Kashtira isn't like around as much anymore, but like if you're getting Veilered or Impermed on your birds, it helps protect them, as well as it stops your opponent from like killing you. And that seems to be like the big issue with the deck, is sometimes you're just dead, you lose, but you always have so much follow-up adding the birds back that I think it's super important to have cards that like stop you from losing immediately. So it could be like Book of Moon or Eclipse, but yeah, I really liked these cards specifically. This card was like only okay. I don't think I'd play 3. So 40 cards in the main deck, extra deck, doesn't really matter. These 2 guys, the Surge's Crow, which is cool, so you make Zeus. And then the 2 Zeus. I'd probably play 3 Zeus going forward since I'm playing a strap, but it doesn't really matter. And just cherry targets. And I guess this. You probably don't need this because you already have a really good Unchained matchup. So this could be something else. This was wrong. This should have been Guardian Chimera, absolutely. Because it doubles for coverage into the branded Chimera deck and the pure branded deck. This is just like a card that I thought was generically good to Reaper because they make this in the tier deck and the branded deck, so I thought this was like really solid to play as an out, and I like this a lot. Obviously, these two are pretty standard. This, I don't know. I'd probably play like a Synchro, honestly. I think like Baron. Like a lot of the random decks make Baron. It's pretty good. And this is to out like the Towers cards. Yeah, so it's pretty much hits. And then for the side deck, Ash, Crow, redraw, cherries for the hand traps. A bunch of these guys, right? Crow is searchable on Verbena as well as the XYZ that I just mentioned. So this card came in a lot more than I thought it was going to. Pretty solid. Ash is ridiculous. Droll is like hit or miss. Obviously, if you shifter and Droll, it's a crazy combo, but you don't usually like need to use both. It just gives you like 2 free turns, so that's nice. The Reaper was really good. I really like this card. I think it's really underrated because it like makes sure they don't set up like a crazy insane board. It makes your deck a little bit more fair. And when you get into like a game state where like both decks are super fair, you just win because your deck grinds forever. So I really like this card. And then I played Duster. This card maybe should have been in the main deck. This card's really good, obviously. Against Dragon Link, like being able to remove all of their stuff, because sometimes they'll like link away the disc pattern or like put it in grave, summon it back off regains. Being able to make it so that doesn't happen and get rid of the trap and get rid of their follow-up, super strong. And I played Called By, so not a whole lot of people are playing Called By in this deck because if you shifter them, it's the same thing, but if you don't draw shifter, crazy idea. Also, like, Lancia is really good against you, so having an Lancia super important. I like this card a lot. Definitely would play more if I could. And the 2 other Harpies and D-Barrier some more going first cards. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked the deck. A lot more than I was expecting to. It was pretty interesting. I really enjoyed playing it. Shout out to Studs Group Chat, Team WUNAX, and Robert Scarpelli for giving me the thrust. Yeah, thanks so much for watching.